NASCAR on FX welcomes you to the Pontiac Excitement 400 at Richmond International Raceway. For 50 years, they've been racing here in Virginia's capital city, first on a half-mile dirt track, then a half-mile paved, and now this beautiful three-quarter-mile short track of a super speedway where the track is wide, but in the corners the racing groove is narrow. And last night's Busch Series race produced a record 14 caution flags, all caused by contact. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Bud Pull Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each Winston Cup race. Terry Labonte is our Bud Pull winner since '79. Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $8 million as title sponsor of the Pull Award program. Tonight's STP starting grid looks like this. Terry Labonte will share the front row with Joe Nemechek, his first front four start here for Chevys at the front of this field.
Now this is the little track that thinks it could.
And does.
Could be a super speedway because it's got that kind of speed, 150 mile an hour into turn one.
I look back through the top 20.
See Jeff Burton right there in the 99 car. He was fastest in both race practices last night.
Bunch of Dodges, veterans, and one of the hometown heroes, Ricky Rudd, in that pack. And the cars highlighted in yellow are the provisional starters.
Again, like so many times, weather is going to be a factor. We got rain coming in, and these guys practiced yesterday. It was 85 degrees. Now it's about 50 degrees. Got to watch that right front tire, Larry. Can blow it out here real easy.
I mean, the speeds are going to be much greater tonight. A lot more grip with this cooler track temperatures. And there was a lot of scrambling going on this morning in the garage area. Crew chiefs making adjustments to their car based on that, and then putting things in that race car that they knew they was going to have to adjust as this race goes on.
Welcome to Richmond, a hurry-up start due to weather. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell, the big problem last night was that big funnel from the wide front straightaway down into the groove in turn one.
That's just it. This welcomes that kind of accident. You got a lot of room going down the front straightaway. You can drop right to the bottom, and you go all the way to the corner. You think I got it made, but when you get there, the guy on the outside swings down in front of you, chops your nose off, cause a big wreck. Thing I'm going to be watching though is the pole sitter. Last week, Steve Park never led a lap. Last night, Michael Waltrip on the pole didn't lead a lap. Who gets to that slick first turn first?
Good question.
The pole sitter.
Have a look at some of last night's action here. There's turn one, and it was Calamity Corner.
I mean, you got this racetrack, it's about 75 foot wide, but like you said, Mike, it's like a funnel. And the biggest thing, this is what happened in this wreck right here. We had 14 cautions last night, is you get caught up in someone else's problem. It's like a chain reaction. So yeah, you race the racetrack, but there's certainly more to it than just racing the racetrack. You have to be on your toes.
Larry, there is so much traffic as you look at turn one that you can't just race the racetrack. How do you keep that car in one piece and keep from overrunning the car and using it all up?
Well, I mean, obviously your spotter is very important here. He's going to be one of your best friends. But it's one of those deals, Mike, where you have to use that patience, but you also have to be aware of what's going on with you, what's going around you. I mean, there's a lot of times you'll hear that spotter say, watch that group in front of you. They're starting beating and banging on each other. You have to be aware of things like that.
Well, it's a funnel, all right, and it gets stopped up sometime. And when it does, buddy, you got trouble.
Weather. Yes, we'll have some tonight. There's a big band of showers coming from due west over by Roanoke.
I mean, just look at this air temperature right here. That's about 20 degrees cooler than it was last night. Along with that track temperature, the speeds are going to be much greater in this race than they were in any of the practices yesterday.
One to go. From first to 36, the final qualifier on time, 0.3 of a second.
And we never say never, but there's the pit window right there. That would be for fuel and for tires. Most of the strategy, when you do come to pit road, you're going to get 4 tires at this short track.
When did you quit saying never?
You taught me that. I've worked with you long enough now.
Cars that went to the back for the start of this race. Bill Elliott, engine change. He'll start 42nd. Driver change and backup car for the 01, Jerry Nadeau's car, which will be driven tonight by Jason Keller.
And I'm thinking Jason Keller doesn't think that's really a bad thing to be at the back in a car that he's not all that familiar with, and it'll give him time to get into a rhythm here and get going.
All right, DW, short track race. Let's go reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time, buddy.
It's Saturday night, folks, under the lights. It don't get much better than this. Boogity, 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 boys, let's go racing. Take her down.
Teammates on that front row. Drag race down to turn 1. Joe Nemechek's up there in the high groove. That high groove came in last night. Still side by side down the backstretch.
Darrell, they don't look like they worked this out beforehand between the two of them, do they?
No, we were talking down in the hotel that Terry would lead the first lap, and I said, well, he got his teammate there. I think he would be able to, but he didn't.
Joe Nemechek will lead the first lap.
And as you said, Larry, that outside groove last night was pretty good, especially off of 2 over there. And you can see Nemechek gets a good shot out there and takes the lead.
Boy, his car really flew through the middle of 1 and 2, and he's able to get back to the throttle much quicker than Terry Labonte.
5th time in Nemechek's career he has led a Winston Cup race on a short track.
Terry's not done, though. He's coming back.
Almost looked like Joe overdrove turn 3 and 4, washed way up the racetrack that time.
He's not giving anything to his teammate as the Hendrick cars run 1, 2, 3. Jeff Gordon 3rd behind Nemechek and Terry Labonte.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon made his run up there to 3rd. Remember, he started back in 6th. He did it on the high groove. Nemechek washes way up the racetrack again.
Terry Labonte leads the lap.
It's real easy to run into the 3rd turn too hard, get back in the gas a little too quick, and the grip's just not as good up high in 3 and 4 as it is down there off of turn 2 right now.
Right now, Joe Nemechek looks much better than 1 and 2, but Terry Labonte looks a little better than 3 and 4. He didn't wash up the racetrack that time, but boy, Kyle Petty in the 45 did.
Boy,
way up the track.
So did Rusty right behind him.
And so did Jamie
Oh,
McMurray.
man, and the 31 car was all crossed up.
Something that starts at the front of the pack can carry all the way to the back.
The chain reaction.
But right now you're on low air pressure. I know we say that a lot, but you're on low air. It's going to take about 5 or 6 laps for these cars to get comfortable, if they're going to get comfortable.
4th is Earnhardt Jr., 5th is Bobby Labonte, 6th Ryan Newman. 7th is Kurt Busch, his car mostly yellow, a new paint job. Battle for 3rd. Side by side, Jr. inside Gordon.
I'll tell you, I talked to Robbie Loomis, crew chief for Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. They were not that happy with their car yesterday, a lot like Greg Zipadelli and Tony Stewart made a lot of changes to that car today.
And Kurt Busch, very loose off turn 2, almost lost it. Hung on, gave up the spot to Ryan Newman, and now may give one to Jimmy Johnson on the outside.
I think it's just going to take a few laps here. You got to remember, they've had trucks, cars, parade laps, a lot of dirt and dust on the racetrack right now. The grip will get better.
Johnson and Busch got together, and that led through Casey Mears in the 41.
And I'm going to tell you what, that was a great qualifying run for Casey Mears last night. Qualified 11th. Now he's going to be up there running in about the 7th position.
Riding with Kenny Wallace behind Tony Stewart. That's 10th and 11th place.
And you hear the throttle in Kenny's car. You see how gingerly he gets it. Hardly gets it wide open just for just a spurt on the straightaway.
Kenny was good in practice last night. 18 Winston Cup starts here. Never had a top 10 finish. Look at the brake right here, Darrell. That shows you when he's on the brake. And there you see he's almost all the way on the straightaway before he's wide open throttle.
Use quite a bit of brake here, as we've said before. The thing that you do here is you're on the brakes so long. You run 150 mile an hour, you've got to about ride that car down as you go into the corner.
Joe Nemechek pulling away. Last lap, a 22 flat. That was matched only by Labonte and Kurt Busch. As he edges away from his Hendrick teammate, Terry Labonte. Earnhardt Jr. 3rd, Jeff Gordon 4th, and Ryan Newman. 11 laps complete, caution free. Maybe a problem on Robbie Gordon. He has slipped to 43rd.
He's loose really badly.